Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the newest Alter unit, Nan Yin, which is basically Fiona 2.0, making her great for free-to-play / low spenders due to all the buffs that she brings. She primarily focuses as a support and she can fit with any character in the game. But do note that she was tested on the test server, so there's a chance that this could change. So this is what you need to know before you row, starting with her main mechanics. So let's go ahead and talk about her normal attacks, which you're mainly not going to be doing unless you're in a pure Alter team. But her best combo would be 3 normal attacks into a hold attack, which you can also do in the air. This also grants you a lot of charge, allowing you to discharge with your other units a lot easier. But outside of combat, you're able to hold down the hold attack and create portals which you can teleport to. But you can only have a maximum of 2 portals, so once you create the third one, it's going to automatically delete the first portal you created. But you do have the ability to go into the map and delete a portal that you created, as well as lock the location so that way that portal never gets deleted. Which brings us to her dodges, which is mainly used in team play. So when you dodge, you're able to create a butterfly. If you're in attack / balance resonance, basically it's going to do extra damage to the target. If you're in fortitude resonance, it'll create a shield for you. And if you're in benediction resonance, it will heal an ally that has fallen. Which brings us to her skill, which creates a field which does AoE damage to all targets inside. While in the field, Nan Yin's able to ignore shields. Also, once the field generates enough energy, it will blow up and cause even more damage. And it can gain energy even faster depending on how many targets are in the field. Which brings us to one of her special features. When you switch from a character to Nan Yin takes on that character's element. So for example, when switching from Liyue to Nan Yin, she's going to be able to do flame damage. But she is still considered an altered weapon, so she will not be able to activate triple element effects from traits like Mimi's or Linghang's. Which brings us to her discharge. When you cast it, you're able to create a clone of Nan Yin, which loses health every time it casts a skill. But you are able to possess it if you hold down the dodge attack while on Nan Yin. But the clone does not do much damage even if it is possessed, so it's best not to do this. But the discharge also changes depending on the element you switch off of. So if you're switching from a frost unit, you're able to generate a giant shield and do AoE damage. If you're switching from a flame unit, you're able to do AoE damage while also burning the targets for a period of time. For Volt, you also do AoE damage, but you're also going to cause your clone to slowly lose health. While this happens, you're also going to cause additional AoE damage, which is further increased the less health the clone has. For Physical, you're going to get your initial AoE damage, but you gain the ability Sweeping, which allows you to do extra damage every time you do a critical hit. Altered, you're going to do your initial AoE damage, but it's also going to power up your clone to do more damage. And if it dies, it's going to explode to do damage to nearby targets. But she also has a few special features. The first one being Inhabit, to where she can mark a weapon and increases damage by 1%. But if she's in the team, it increases by an additional 9%, allowing that weapon's damage to be increased by 10%. And how you do that is by going to a different weapon, and above the skill icon, you'll see this icon called Inhabit, and you simply click it. And you can do this for any one weapon that you choose. And lastly, let's talk about her trait, which you're only going to use if you're main DPSing with Nan Yin, so most likely you will only be using this trait if you're running triple altered. Otherwise, you're going to want to use the preferred main DPS's trait. So now let's talk about her playstyle, and since she's a support, you're mainly going to cast her discharge and her skill off a cooldown. But since her skill is really powerful and it has a long cooldown, a lot of your rotations are going to be centered around that skill cooldown. Which brings us to her Ascensions, to where all of them are actually pretty good. 1 star increases the damage of the weapon that it inhabits based off the star level, while also increasing her skill damage. For example, if you're able to inhabit a 6-star weapon and Nan Yin was not on the team, you're going to increase that weapon's damage by 7%. But if Nan Yin is on the team, you're going to increase that weapon's damage by 15%. But do note that this is based off the star level, and just having an A0 Nan Yin on the team, you will get a 10% damage boost. 3-star allows you to have a cheat def, which doesn't conflict with other 3-star cheat defs. 5-star being one of the strongest ascensions, to where it gives you defense shred as long as her skill is active. You're also now able to create 3 portals in the world. And 6-star massively increases the damage of your skill. So now let's discuss her teams, and with her being altered, of course you can work with almost any team. So for this video, I'm just going to showcase some of the strong ones that I was able to see, but I will try to put out videos showcasing each element's teams as well as their rotations. So for Volt, the strongest team was altered, which was to be expected since it's going to be getting a new character and 2 banners. Frost has a few options, but the strongest team is going to be Linghang, Yulan, and Nan Yin. But martial artist Yulan utilizing altered is a pretty strong team as well. For Flame, you have Liyue, Fies, and Nan Yin, fully taking advantage of all those summons. And Physical, with the strongest team being Chinono, Zeke, and Nan Yin. But it also has a strong alter comp with Zeke, Fiona, and Nan Yin. And if you utilize Nan Yin's 1-star, the Ode comp of Zeke, Fiona, and Janono is a fairly strong team as well. And lastly, you have the triple altered team, which is not that strong, but it is something to do. Which brings us to her matrices, to where her 2-piece are basically Lyra matrices, greatly increasing your attack, with the added benefit of increasing the clone's damage and giving you a free discharge bar at the start of combat, with her 4-piece granting crit damage and more final damage than Fiona's, as long as she's on the team, making these very powerful. And with that, that should be everything that you need to know before you roll. But look forward to my deep dives of the various teams, to where I discuss the teams, the rotations, and how they compare to each other. Well, let me know down in the comments, are you guys rolling for Nan Yin, or are you waiting for those future characters? But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.